talk about it later. I've been staying low, moving in silence. Let that money talking, nothing about it quiet. Bad vibes, can't let it slide. Not the right suit, had to cut ties. Too much little boy shit, that's why I bossed up on you.
Welcome to Trapping Ain't Dead, another day, another dollar. Peep gang. It's your boy Munch. I'm here with Kenisha. I said it right? Kenisha?
You said it right.
Kenisha Anthony. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. This is my first interview for the book, actually.
Oh,
so
dope.
You got to do that.
I still was first, y'all. I still was first.
You almost didn't make it. But I'm from right here in Liberty City. I grew up all around Miami because I lived in so many different placements, but I did originally reside here in Liberty City, right on 47th Terrace and 10th Avenue, so that's where I'm originally from.
Yeah, that mean you right over there with Quay, my boy Tarvis, all the rest of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little girl running at the little park, going to Charles Hadley, jumping off the platform.
Yeah. See, I was like,
went to Alapata Middle.
Yeah. See. Thank you. Not that. What it is, Lenore or something?
Lenore B. Smith. No, I didn't go there. I actually went to Santa Clara Elementary.
You know, I'm talking about like they changed the name of the school. It ain't Alapata no more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it's Georgia Airs or something like that.
Oh, they did change.
Yeah, they changed it to Georgia. Yeah.
So I went to Alapata.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly, dog.
Names.
I got a lot of homies out the 40s, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so yeah, man.
Now.
Yeah, dog. I got a lot of homies and we grew up at the park. So like seeing that, you know, they went to Alapata Middle. You was I remember that, you know, when Alapata had like a drill team and all that.
Yeah.
Those were the days, man.
I was on the cheerleader squad, but it was some issues with that. But I definitely tried out for the cheerleader squad. I was definitely a Mustang. And
oh man,
yeah.
So what would explain for us like what you did when you was younger, like as far as like, cause I know we'll get into the other stuff later, but was you at the park? Did you cheerlead at the park any?
At Liberty City
yeah.
Park? No, I didn't because financially I wasn't able to.
Oh man.
So it was like basically I lived there, and what we did was we ran the streets and we rode bikes. At Charles Hadley, they used to have like the hills. So on Christmas, when we all got our bikes, we did that. On a normal day, the park that's like right there on 10th. It's
a smaller park, yeah.
So, and then we have like the alleyways.
Yes.
So like on a normal day, we'll play basketball at the park there, or we will go through the alleys, climb trees, get mangoes.
That was the good old days, man.
Definitely the good old days.
Playing, chasing, and stealing mangoes. Am I lying?
No, but that's what we did. That was what we did on a normal day, just hanging in the neighborhood, riding our bikes. And that's really what we did. Every single day we came outside, went to the park. Like the park was just the thing to do.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Earlier you talked about like, I stayed in Liberty City, but it was other placements. When you say placement, it wasn't it was just temporary?
Yeah, so these are so when you're removed from your parents, the court order you to go to different houses, and depending on what's available, that's where you go. So in this situation of being in foster care, I lived in Liberty City, I lived in Opelika, I lived in Brown Subs, I lived on the beach, I lived in Miami Gardens. So it's kind of like what's available is where you go.
Well, when did you first enter that system?
I entered foster care at the age of 4.
Wow.
So I was removed from my mother due to abandonment and neglect, and that's just the legal terms of why children enter foster care.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother and my father both had drug addiction problems.
Okay.
But based on
like a lot of city folk.
Yeah, like a lot of people. And my dad wasn't according to the records, because I requested to understand what was going on in my life, and being so young, of course I didn't understand what was going on around me. I requested my files. So according to the files, it said that my dad had basically abandoned me. He never was in my life. So being that I actually went into case management, so I worked in the system for 2 years, and basically with that, I understand the language of it and the processes of how that happens. So basically, it would be like he just never showed up to court, so they'll charge that as abandonment.
What about your mom?
So my mom, she was like, based on like what I know and then what the file tells me, it was like my mom, she would be kind of in and out, and she would show up and then she wouldn't show up. So it was kind of like in the system when she had meetings, she wouldn't show up, and then sometimes she would pop out. But I really don't know much about what happened with my mom, because the file that I have basically it cuts off in 1997. So I read up until like removal, and then it will be the children are sheltered, and then it kind of say referrals were sent out, and then it just stopped. So I don't really know what happened to my family altogether, and how did the case close, what happened to my mother, what happened to my father, because I do remember taking a paternity test for my father, but nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And like I said, I know the system from working in it. So for me, it's confusing to me to not even know what happened to my family. So it's like, who do you blame? The system? Like, did the system fail my family, or was my family non-compliant? So that's like the dilemma that I'm in about it.
Yeah, that's crazy, because the next question was going to be like, have you spoken to your family since?
From what I know about my family is very small.
Yeah.
And I only know a few members of my family, so it will be like I know my mom and my dad. I don't know my dad's family. I really only know my dad. And my mom, my mom have a few siblings, and I know them. Some of them are very distant. I lived with an aunt before. So like, even when I say that I grew up in Liberty City, that's not my biological family. That was my sister's, and my sister and my brother biological family, but that's non-relative to me.
Okay.
So I am in communication with my siblings. My parents have passed away.
Okay.
So I don't talk to them. I didn't have a relationship with them prior to them passing away, but I don't talk to
So
them.
what led you, did you being in that foster system, the foster care system, lead you to want to be a caseworker?
Yes, the system led me to want to be a caseworker, because I just didn't understand what was happening in my life. So it would be like, as you would know, as a person who don't know the system, you know it as, why do people enter foster care, right?
Yeah.
You would be like, your mind just automatically tells you, for whatever reason, that it's mostly abuse. Like, this person was being abused, and this is why these people
abuse
are in their
or
life.
either or the drug situation, because like I shared with you offline earlier, was that my dad used to work in DCF. So when he was working in DCF, he always explained to me, and I think that's part of the reason why I have like an understanding and I'm more empathetic towards certain situations, because it's like, yeah, some situations were drug situations, some situations were abuse, other situations was just simple neglect, like, and sometimes there were messed up situations where like the parent had to work so long that it was hard for them to really, like, they'll show up late to pick them up from daycare, and then that'll lead up to it.
Okay.
So,
and that's funny that I'm glad that you're knowledgeable of that, because as a worker, those are the different things that I've seen as a worker, and due to bureaucracy, I'm pushed to make certain decisions.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, okay, that's normal. Like, people be late, so why do I have to monitor a child and a family that don't really need services? Like, they don't need services. That's life. That's a part of life.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like coming from that situation, and then I was like in high school, going into college, and like a lot of things just kept happening to me, and I was like, I really don't understand based on the type of placement that you live in.
So hold on. So when you talk about high school and things were happening, what, if you don't mind sharing, what was going on?
So it would be like different rules. So like I was saying, you think that foster children is all under one umbrella, right? Mm-hmm. And then once I started working in the system, I learned that there are different avenues to the foster care system. So basically, from me being a child, only thing I know in my mind is that I am a foster child. The state comes every month and they dictate my life and they tell me what I can and cannot do. So everybody, what you will hear, oh, if you age out, they're gonna help you get an apartment. Oh, the system gonna help you get an apartment. So these things are in my mind only when you get before professionals. They're telling you like, oh no, you was living in a non-licensed placement. You don't qualify for those things.
What's a non-licensed placement?
Meaning that the state haven't licensed them to care for foster children, but they can do a home study and approve for this person to be your caregiver.
Wow, I see. I never even known that because even on TV, they always make it like, hey, you have to go through this process, you have to get approved, but they don't break it down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what movie? But they didn't get involved with DCF, but Holiday Heart. You see how Nikki went to go stay with Holiday.
Yeah.
But if the system was there, they possibly could have done a home study on him, and he would have been approved as a non-relative placement.
Yeah.
So
that's the one with Vin Raines, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But what would happen would be that Holiday will only qualify for certain services, certain benefits, unless he became licensed.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
But then it became like a lot of discrepancies in that because it was like, well, we're not going to license you only for one child. If you only want to take care of this one child, then you could just be a non-relative to this person. But if we license you, we got to put other kids into your house.
Yeah.
And if you don't want that, then...
So that's crazy. That's an intricate thing because you always heard, like I said, like TV always portrays it as, okay, I want to be a foster parent, I'm going to do the right thing. And it's never portrayed. Maybe in the new, like newer movies, it'll probably come out because now the movies are more like showing like the more detail about these issues. And home study. I never knew nothing about it. I deal with I used to be a teacher. Well, not in the public school system, but after school. One kid was he just kept getting bounced around, and you could tell that his mental was starting to affect him. And the arts was like a release, but you could tell like this just bothered him, it just overpowered him. So I wish I would have been more diligent in getting more of that information about the system to understand, to tap more into them. Like I used to take the kids home and everything. I know exactly where they stay, the whole nine, but it was just like, you could tell, like when you teach in the class and you pay attention, you can kind of tell what's this situation versus these. A girl I was talking to, Raquel, she's out in D.C. She passing policy right now. Perry, yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna bring in. But she was like, "Man, I'm in D.C. right now. I can't get down." I was like, "Okay, cool." So, but yeah, Raquel is a good friend of mine. You know what I'm saying?
It's meant for me and her to meet.
Yeah. See, y'all haven't met each other?
No, we haven't face to face met each other.
Yeah.
But everywhere I go, everybody's always like, you need to meet Raquel Perry. And I'm like, you like the 100th person who told me that. But we've connected on Facebook.
Yeah, we're going to make sure that happen. And she came from over there at Bridge. So, when I actually went to Bridge and, talked to some kids and mentored some kids. And some of the things that, you could see like some of the older kids was like a little bit too far gone. They was just like, man, and you could tell. And what was sad to me was like, these kids didn't see no way out. You know what I mean? And I look at myself having both parents. You get what I'm saying? And I had the same mentality. But I'm like, they was in a way worse situation than I was. You know what I'm saying? So it just give you a little bit of give and take. And even my dad used to bring some of the kids home because he had to. Like, we'll leave football practice. The rest of the team don't know, like, this is the situation. But I would know. And they'd be like, can't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then we would have to drive them to the shelter because it'd be or the orphanage or however it's called, but it would be a big old building. I know it was like one of them was like in Hialeah somewhere, like down that way, but it was like on like 20th Street. I know we used to go on 22nd Avenue. We just ride down like 22nd and like 20th Street.
But
in that
it's a
area.
lot of different shelters.
Yeah,
it would be like well, I don't want to say what it is, but it's a lot of like, if you say it's big, it probably like, his house, you have his house children home. Like, was it a big thing like that?
Yeah, I think it was a bit, but that's the thing. He never even let me see it. Like, it was just like a building. I didn't know what the hell it was. It was around some like water in a marina situation. So I used to just sit in the car. He would leave me in the car while he.
And you see how you highlighted that it was around water and you can't even see it. you as a child, you feel so secluded from the world
Exactly.
that you're living in this placement that's so far off, nobody could call you. And like, that was a lot of issues. Like when I lived in a group home, I've always ran away from group homes. Like, do not.
I was just about to ask you
home.
about your experiences.
Because
Yeah.
in a group home, you can't even use the phone.
What?
You can't use the phone. When you first walk into anywhere, okay, you make your observations, right? I'm looking around. It's a lock on the refrigerator. My mind is like, I'm not even used to this. And like the crazy thing for me was like talking to my sister and like learning more about the upbringing before, because my sister, she's 10 years older than me, so she had more of an experience of what our home environment was like. So the thing that got me the most was, we talk about drugs and we talk about why people come into the system. Like, my mother we wasn't in poverty. Like, my mother really just had a drug issue. So my sister would tell me that we ate steak and we ate all this good stuff. To take me from that and to put me in these situations where you have a scheduled time to eat, you can't go in the refrigerator when you want, you only can have one bowl of cereal, I give you an apple when you need, that's all you can eat. You can't, like I said, you can't eat what you want, you can't wear what you want. It's like, your mind is already telling you, I'm not even happy here just because of these small things. And I think that we should get away from, kids should just be grateful for what they have. And
most definitely.
The system basically tells us, like, okay, you know, you was in this terrible situation, like, we coming as your savior to take you out of these situations, but my mind is what's normal to me and what you're about to put me in is not normal. Like, you're disrupting me. And I think, like,
sounds like normal anytime government jumps in anything.
they just disrupt your whole life and tell you, but they tell you to be thankful, and that's not what you're used to. Like, to take me from eating steak to tell me that I have to eat bologna, that's like, and I'm the type of person, I don't like cold sandwiches. Yeah. So as a caseworker, something that I always took my own experiences, and I always tried to remember how I felt in the situation when I was dealing with kids in the same situation. So if a child tell me, I don't want a bologna sandwich, I'm like, okay, you don't have to eat it. What do you want to eat? Yeah. But to tell me that, well, if you don't eat this bologna sandwich, you're not going to eat at all, and you should be grateful that I'm at least giving you a bologna sandwich.
I'm a picky eater. For the record, so everybody who thinks I'm vegan and shit, no, I'm just a picky eater, okay?
I think that I've gotten to a point where now that I'm educated and I'm knowledgeable about certain things, like if I was to have children, I would let my children express themselves and not tell them, like, be quiet, don't talk back to me, don't tell me what you don't like to do. So I think that my situation has definitely molded me to let people be more expressive, because I was now I open my mouth about anything. Like, I won't let nobody say nothing to me. I'm going to speak my mind. But as a child, I was very quiet because people always said I was a liar. Like, people said that I need a psychological evaluation. I actually went and got a psychological evaluation.
Was this from because from my experience with the kids, it would be like the parent, it was almost like the foster parent didn't even want the kid in the first place. So was it a situation where the parents was telling you that?
So it was all around. So it would be like family members, the system, like it was like based on the situation that I was in. Yeah. It would be like, you will feel, you've been told that you're a liar so much. So like something that I do try to tell people when they be like, what's wrong with this child? It's like, you know what, how many houses have she lived in? It'd be like, okay, it was 5 before me. If I lived in 5 houses before you, and this person had these rules, this other person got these other rules, I don't know who I am on the 6th placement. So when you go into places, you kind of just sit, because like you said, foster parents don't even want you in the first place, which that is an issue that we face in the community as well, that we have a limited amount of foster parents, but some foster parents, it's a whole screw of issues of why the limited amount that we have is even more limited. But definitely foster parents, family members, whoever you're residing with, and out-of-home care can make you shut down. And once a child gets to a point where they shut down, or like you said, when they are so far gone, like even And that's another reason why I wrote my book, because people look at me today as, especially people who meet me today, it's like, oh my God, Kenisha, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. But I wasn't always this person. I was one of those children that was so far gone. Like, I was this close from being in prison.
Yeah.
Like, one yes or no kept me from being in prison. So don't, and I can definitely be there doing a 12-year bid right now with my friend who's in prison right now. So when those children are so far gone, they have shut down, but don't ever shut them out, because you don't know, like, you can be that person who can reach them.
So what was that for you? Because I see you had the labeled shirt, everything about the book. The book is called Labeled, right? So what about people labeling you enabled you to kind of like just change? Like what was that factor? Like what was that turnaround?
So nobody enabled me or gave me anything to change. It was more so going through living in the hood, living through poverty, and everybody always telling you no. And it was like I was at rock bottom.
Yeah.
So I was hungry. I didn't have no money. No, I was like, my placement.
You was still in the group home, or you had another placement?
This is when I felt like I hit rock bottom. I was 18. I had already aged out of the system.
Yeah.
So one thing that has changed since I was in foster care was, when you was 18, they like automatically told you grown now. So you have to figure it out. Yeah. But now they have this thing called extended foster care, where you can stay in foster care until you're 21 years old. So, but like I said, when I was 18, it was like, that's it. Yeah. So it was going through those motions of not having nothing, and just picking myself up by my bootstraps. Like, well, nobody ain't coming to save you, so what you about to do? So it was just like me. I graduated high school when I was 19 years old, so I was going to, of course, I had my behavior problems, and I failed classes in my freshman year, and then I also missed half of my 10th grade year, so I had to do the 10th grade twice. So
because I was just about to ask about like the social skills, the life skills. How was that coming up in the system? Because I know me, like the way my parents were, they were like, keep him busy. You know, parenting is not an easy thing, and it's not a perfect, like nobody's perfect. So I don't fault them for like certain shortcomings that I have. But at the end of the day, it's certain things I realized, like certain like social skills and life skills that I could have been taught in the home that I wasn't, mainly because, you know, my mom worked so much, or my dad, you know, was always, you know, me and him didn't talk, or he didn't have a father, so he didn't know how to raise me either. So it was just like, what were some of those things, like social skills, life skills? Did you get anything, like, did anybody stand out to you that taught you anything, that was like one good person you had in the system?
I would say that I wouldn't, like I said, I live with non-relatives, so my grandma, I call her my grandmother, she was a good person, and it was nothing bad in her home, but things happened that had me taken out of her home, and nothing that was her fault. But my grandmother, like, she had certain rules that she would tell us, like, a woman should not be in the bed after 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, you need to be up, active, starting your day. Or like, you know, she'll have me in the kitchen with her cooking and different stuff like that, or cleaning up, and just different, like, as a woman. So that was something, like, I lived with her when I was 4. Like, that was my first placement. So that was like when I was 4 or 5, and like probably a little bit of 6. But
after that, it was different, huh?
After that, I moved on with different people, so I only stayed with her for that little time frame. And then I do have my Auntie May, who, when I lived with her, it was like, okay, my Auntie May, I probably went to go. I saw my Auntie May prior to, like, being 4 years old, but of course it was like I just told you, my Aunt May, my Aunt May lived in a big house in Palm Coast, Florida. Like, she moved from Connecticut. She was a nurse. Her husband, they were both career people, retired. House nice. Pool in the back, lake.
Everything. You was living a life, huh?
Temporarily. So it was like, when I went to my aunt's house, you know, she cooked breakfast. We ate breakfast at the table. Don't put your elbows on the table. So it was like those small little things are things that I can say temporarily. These was the people that I stayed with forever, but temporarily they planted little small seeds into me that now today that I think that I've reached a certain life, and when I had to reflect, like, who do I want to be? That's when I thought about all of those little things that I have that was taught to me. So those are people that I would say taught me things along the way.
And that was when you got to rock bottom, right?
And the sad part about that was when you talk about rock bottom, my Aunt May had just passed away. So although I didn't live with her and she lived out of town, she was always a phone call away. So I would pick up the phone. What is it? I think it's like collect. Like I'll go to the payphone and call her on like collect, like just to talk to her. But my auntie, she and her husband, they both had health problems. So to deal with the system, it was kind of like they didn't want to go through the headaches of being an out of town placement and different stuff like that. So it was like she just always was a phone call away from me.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I appreciate it. So tell us about what to expect when we read the book, get the book. When does the book come out?
So Labeled Water the State comes out January 15th. What you can expect is to go on a journey with me of my life and how I went from being a child in foster care, how I dealt with that through all my placements, how I picked myself back up, how I became an advocate and going to Tallahassee based on all of my experiences to explain to legislators my experiences and why the law needed to change, my journey through college, my journey through graduating college debt free and becoming a social caseworker. The world doesn't really know it by casework, but it's the social worker. And how I went on to get a master's degree and like different struggles that I had and just giving hope to other children. And I really wanted the book to be a resource guide. So a lot we think that the system is supposed to do everything for us, like just the foster care system and aging out, but every government system is the same. Like everything is going to have an age cutoff. Everything have qualifications. So I really want kids to know, and I really want professionals to know that we don't only have to look within our community for resources. Like there are national resources that can offer opportunities to children. So you will definitely learn about that. Children will learn about their different rights and definitely not to be quiet and to stand up for themselves. And you'll just learn all of these things through my journey and how I did that. So
it's dope. It's dope, man. It's been good sitting here talking to you. Where can the people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at About Kenisha. I just created a Twitter that's also About Kenisha, and you can visit my website www.kenishaanthony.com, and you can subscribe to my website.
And what else do you have in store for us down the line? What's next?
One thing that I am doing with my book is creating a scholarship fund and being a resource for other kids out there or young adults. So my scholarship will definitely be dedicated to young adults that are pursuing higher education. So like I told you, I graduated debt free, and that was because I had a host of organizations that definitely was like, Kenisha, focus on your goals and we're going to help you with everything else. So I definitely want to pay it forward to other kids to have that same opportunity. And definitely the goal for youth is to become independent. So if you think that college is for you and you want to go and you want to experience college, I was on Facebook probably a couple months ago, and a girl asked the question, how do people end up homeless on the street, on the bus stop, begging and different stuff like that?
They've been in that situation for a long minute.
Definitely that. And then like what was so interesting about like coming from where I come from, watching shows like that, and then working in government. So like I worked for the County and Homeless Initiative Partnership and understanding the homeless system. So you have to be physically homeless before the government can kick in and help you.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't know this. So when you ask why is this person on the street, it's because, well, you have to be physically homeless before you could get help, and then that just qualifies you for help. Now I didn't say that the help was gonna kick in.
Yeah,
so it will be like, okay, I did my internship there for a year, and I told my administrators, like, I feel crazy because people would come. We have this system that said we're going to help you. So, okay, now I have to tell you, well, you got to be, if you got one more day in your apartment, you're not homeless yet. So once you homeless, call me back. So then I'm going to tell you, okay, you need to call this agency. And you got to find out what this agency going to be at today. And then you got to go stand in this long line. And then people will say, okay, I stood there and I got all the way to the line. The line was long. And I stood there for hours. And I got to the top and nothing was available.
Yeah.
Okay, well, only thing I can tell you is go back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Try again. But where am I going to sleep tonight? So, like, when people will be like, how did you get in this situation? That's why I always say, like, talk to people. You could talk to people.
Yeah.
If a person walk up to you.
You know what the stigma is. People don't want to prejudge or offend anybody. You know what I mean?
You don't. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, I feel like the friendliest place is the bus. Like, you could be sitting on the bus stop and somebody could walk up to you and just say hi. Like, speak back to people. Like, people are just people to me. I don't really see... And you learn a lot from people because people have been through different experiences and you never know somebody's story. And, like, somebody can talk to you and they can tell you something that could change the rest of your life, because you could be like, you know what? I'm thinking... You're here because you want to be here, but in reality, it's different factors in life that led people to these situations. And, like, even all of the trauma that you experience while in foster care and dealing with so many people and feeling unwanted, and then you go to be that child that's far off, you start to ask yourself, like, okay, how did these people get here? Well, you know what? That same system that took me from my parents, you want me to go back to this same system and ask them to help me for housing? It kind of becomes...
You was just like, nah, I ain't fucking with it.
Because y'all not going to help me. I was already there. I was already asking them for help. And that's like an interesting thing. When I was 18, and it was my last court hearing, I pleaded to the judge. I'm like, look, sir, if y'all do not help me, I will have nothing. And they like... Bureaucracy says we can't help you, so go figure it out.
That's sad, and those are some of the things that That's why you see me in the community. That's why you see me doing Trapping Ain't Dead. I wanted to shed light on a lot of these issues, and not just talk about the gossip. I mean, a lot of times, we got media, black media. They talk about entertainment. For me, it was just like, no, I came from Liberty City. Under Sam Johnson. Okay. McAdoo and the rest of them, like, real team. That's what I came up under, so that's what I know. It's like, what about them people, them day-to-day people? You know what I mean? What about those people? How you deal with them? How do you just talking to them and just being empathetic? Like I said, my upbringing, I had both parents, but I seen a lot. I seen a mother, on drugs and putting her son in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And putting her son in situations, you get what I'm saying? Just like that, what was happening with Naming on the Wire. So it's just like, I seen that, and like that's why I do this. So I appreciate you for coming, and me having the opportunity to be the first one. But even if I wasn't the first, I still wanted to have you on the show because, and be intentional about it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what this show is about. That's what Trapping Ain't Dead is about. It's not about us selling dope. It's about, like, the trap. We trapped internally. It's a lot of that goes on, and I always talk about this. When I first got with DD, the trap was a cycle. It was poverty. It was a broken education system, racial profiling, and then kids, school to prison pipeline, mass incarceration, and the cycle just continued. I looked at, like, I got a friend that just passed earlier this week. That some people told me, and I never forget, man. This dude was in the streets since all I could remember. He never, what I'm saying? I grew up with cats that, like, literally was in the foster care system, like, and it was like, it's almost like y'all doomed from the fucking start. You know what I'm saying? And we got to do something about it. So you said you went to Tallahassee. Is it any laws or legislation we need to be, like, looking out for?
One thing that right now, the advocacy group that I've advocated with, and I put this in my book, actually.
What group is that?
So Florida Youth Shine. So they're under a group of lawyers called Florida Children's First, and what they're working on this legislative session is for foster youth to have a Bill of Rights. So Florida is one of the states that don't have a Bill of Rights. I don't know off the top of my head which states do. So they're trying to get a Bill of Rights for kids so they can actually know their rights, because you are put, like me, I felt like I didn't know my rights, and I didn't know what what was people was telling me was true.
Look, think
or what
about
was
it.
not was
Think
true.
about it. We in school, right?
Right.
We just innocent, and we not thinking when we get older we have rights, like human rights. That's just some word, you know what I mean,
Right.
that we learned in school, but it was a real thing.
It's definitely a real thing. So, like, just to tell you about some of the things that it will be, one of the things that's on there is to live in a safe, healthful, and comfortable home where he or she is treated with respect and provided with healthful food, appropriate clothing, adequate storage space for personal use, and where the caregiver is aware and understands the child's history, needs, and risk factors, and respect the child's preference for attending religious service and activities. And you will hear that and say, I think that's so crazy that you have to put that in legislation. But you will be surprised how many kids go before, how many young adults, because at that time you're not even a child anymore, to tell you about their experiences of how they were neglected from these certain basic rights. So something that they feel that needs to be in writing, and every child that enters the foster care system should be given this paper to know these are your rights in foster care. And also, I just went to the Department of Children and Families Summit, and like I told you, I went to Tallahassee, and I advocated for, basically they have this thing, if you age out of foster care, you get a tuition exemption. And if you age out in a relative, non-relative, like I told you about the different placements, relative, non-relative, or license, you qualify for this waiver. Now, I know for sure that I went to Tallahassee and I told my story to legislators and the discrepancies that was placed on the tuition exemption versus who qualifies for it, and the differences between the education system and the actual law. And a girl younger than me just said that when I aged out of non-relative care, they told me that I didn't qualify for the tuition exemption.
If you go back and you listen to the show we just did with Fran she's a legislative consultant and community strategist. She literally goes to Tallahassee every year. She's passed bills before, and she's worked. And I'm pretty sure she's probably worked around that bill. So with that being said, she said last week that a lot of times it takes 10 years for a good bill
to be in effect.
To go in effect. And a bad bill, something to fix something bad, is or something that's bad or detrimental to us, are going to law just like that.
So one thing that I did, like I told you, I went from being an advocate to actually working in the system, and this is like some of the topics that I touch on in my book, was because I felt like I was an advocate. I felt like I was doing all this great stuff. Then I went to work for the system. So what I saw was laws are great, but how are they being executed within the system? And then it made me look at, like I told you, this child welfare system is now privatized here in Florida. So I'm asking myself, is privatization really a good thing?
No.
Because it pushes off so much accountability.
Yeah, exactly.
That we are put in this situation to where now I have the Department of Children and Families, I have the local CBC, then I have all of these other small agencies that are supposed to be executing what is in Chapter 39. But the policies and procedures are not in place. So you have children that are coming out that are like, well, this person told me that I don't qualify for this. And then and it was so hurtful to me because I told you I graduated debt free. And this girl told me she done racked up on all this student loan debt when all along she really qualified for the tuition exemption because she was a child that was once in foster care.
Wow. It's people perish for lack of knowledge, man. And it's sad because, it's so many different, like I tell people all the time, Community Action Agency, pay your light bill if you fall short one month. It's a lot that goes into that. It's a large process. But you get what I'm saying? We don't know. So if we don't know, we're not going to go tap into it. Or it's a first-time home buyer program. We won't. If we don't know, we're not going to tap into it. So that's the same thing with these situations with her. And it's just like, you hearing these like, dang, if she would have known, she could have been, you know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is that it wasn't her fault that
Yeah,
did
it wasn't her
know.
fault.
She
Yeah,
was miseducated.
educated. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But then you speak about the community action, and this is why I'm like going through these processes and experiencing this and working for the system and being that person that I had to send these people to all of these resources, was that things that hurt my heart was I would send somebody to community action to go get their light bill paid, right?
Yeah.
And
Trust
guess
me,
what?
I would too.
No, I seen you there, and I'm calling, everybody's calling, and they like, we don't have no money right now.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
But as a person, and it's different when the Department of Children and Family is not in your life, because once the department is in your life, these things are detrimental.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you don't get these lights on, we coming to take your children.
Yeah.
Or you're not getting them back until you get your lights on, and then you have to show that you are able to keep your lights on. So, like working in the homeless system, I saw that our focus was mainly on mental health. People that are basically telling us like, I don't want housing, because homeless people, they like, I'd rather be free. I don't want to live in four walls. So to me, I'm like, okay, you know what? To better use federal funding, let's connect with child welfare agencies, and housing is a very big issue to reunification.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's go and help them.
Hold on, so you say reunification? So that's like bringing the parent back with the child, or
right?
child,
That's
or?
legally giving reunification is legally giving custody of a child back to their biological parent.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest threat. So basically, you get this case plan and have all these tasks on it. So you have to just say some things like parenting, substance abuse, housing, employment. This is a legally binding document. So if you don't have these things legally, because you agreed to this, legally, I can keep your children.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, housing, there's a lack of affordable housing. So it's really like, how is a person going to get these things? So you put in these situations where you need things immediately, but systems don't work immediately for you. So you're put in this situation that's like, well, what do I do? And as a social worker for myself, I'm sitting there like, well, this person is trying.
Yeah.
But you delaying permanency. So it's all of these terms that are just thrown around, all of these legalities that are thrown around that have you push your back against the wall. So are we helping families? And I was like, okay, I'm always on Facebook, right? But it's this guy, it's this boy. I went to high school with him. He's always defending certain policies, like the new changes in the food stamp.
You know, because people who don't have a certain experience always gonna side with that side. I deal with that all the time. You know, and that when I go and talk about policy and law, I'm always talking about the human side,
right?
Because it's so much different. Like with Amendment 4, I helped like get the word out about it. So Desmond, I remember when we first was working on Amendment 4, one of the biggest things was like, you know, when you pass a law, you got to get this much. You got to get your foot in the door.
Right. And
then you can start to do more, right? So originally it was like, oh, let's help them get, like a lot of my cats, I'm like, how is this going to help the people, the real felons that I know in the hood? Like we got real charges. Y'all letting out the non-violent people, the petty theft, the people who in there for no bail, things like that. Or y'all giving them their rights back, but you're not giving a dude that committed maybe did a murder, or maybe, you know, had strong arm robbery. Now he changed his whole life. He can't get his rights back right now. I said, that's a problem for me, but I had to understand, like, this is how bills get passed. You got to get the little bit, because they ain't going to roll. And then you see what they doing now. They rolling back on it, and they saying, well, they got to complete their sentence. And I'm sitting there like, bruh, I told you this from jump. Like, because it's loopholes. Like, it's loopholes. And, you know, completing your sentence means you got to pay us our money. So it's like, man, you know, when we talk about bills and stuff like that, yeah, I know it's not a human side. And they don't operate. They just operate in data, numbers, and, you know, they don't understand sometimes the human side, like the dignity bill. You know how many politicians didn't know that women in prisons, in state prisons, did not have an unlimited supply of like sanitary pads and sanitary items?
Oh, I know. Even in the county jail, when I was arrested and I was in the county jail, and this is when I realized, oh, this place not for me, because the lady, it was a lady, she was there bleeding.
Yeah.
And we all, well, not me, they were all screaming and banging on the door, telling the CO to bring the
Low
lady
pads,
some
yeah.
sanitary, a pad, and they didn't come. And
Yeah.
she just sitting there bleeding. So me, I think I was like 18 years old. I'm sitting there like, that is disgusting.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I seen the same thing. My experience. I was in Jackson Mental Health. I think it was like Crisis, Citrus, one of them, whatever they call
Crisis.
it. I think it was Crisis. So I was sitting in there, and I never forget. I literally, it was this girl. This well, I ain't gonna tell her name, but we all know her. I know her from Make the Homeless Smile. And I was in there with her for some time, and she was bleeding out, like through the little nursing thing they had on it. So we all see him. We like, why y'all not giving them? And I'm just sitting there, and like at this point, I'm out of it my damn self, so I can't even fight with you. You know, all I can do is kind of like, this shit crazy. You know, like I don't know if like I know we ain't crazy. We know y'all crazy for not doing shit about it. Like this shit is like, and you can smell it, you can see it. Like it was all in the hallway, like it was crazy, dog. I'm on the floor locked up. You can't get off the floor. You know what I'm saying? And you could see it was making her angry, like, you know. And it's just like it amazes me how so many people, like, I don't know what the word is, but they have this dissonance where they just like totally block out like that human element. Like, how can you not try to, like, even if I was a normal person, I would have literally went out, because they changed shifts. This shit was going on for days. This wasn't no one day this shit happened, next day. No, this was like days. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk about bureaucracy, it's exactly what it is. You know, like, and sometimes you can fault them, but think about it. Some politicians ain't been in office but a year, so they don't know nothing about all the fuck shit that's been done beforehand. You know what I mean?
To me, like, of course you asked me about what's next. I do want to go, like, I do want to get into politics, but then it'd be like some stuff that get in the way of that. But I always said if I ever became the governor or I ever became a commissioner, like, there's no way I could serve a community and not go in the community.
Yeah.
Or even if you are into politics, you have knowledge about what's going on, what are the issues, because I mean, political presidents who want to run on presidential campaigns, they run off the same issues that your local commissioner run off of.
Yeah.
So if you are
blanketed ass issues that they give to us, like black communities, gun violence.
if you are into politics, or even if you in 1 year, like, you're not fresh out of college and you just ran and won, you have your foot in the game, so you know about these national issues because you have to be aware of these things. So for me, it's kind of like, and that's another thing that I mentioned in the book of why I became an advocate. I was like, you know what? You telling me what the law is, you telling me what rules is, you telling me this, and who made these rules?
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? All these people with all these rules that's dictating my life, I never met them.
Yeah.
So I became an advocate because I was like, if you're not gonna come to me, then I'm gonna go to you.
Yeah.
So
same mentality.
it was like, for me, like, even now when I hear kids talk about different stuff that they're going through, I'm like, you know what? This is my world. And we only know what's in our world. And as a child, the things that I'm exposed to now, that wasn't my world when I was a child. So even like you'll see people be like, oh, this person is doing the same thing that you're doing. And I'm like, you know what? We have a different reach of different people, because when you go through situations like this, and you had asked me, what did I go through? Like, did this make me go into the field that I wanted to go to? It was because, like, all of these advocates and all of these people that are doing things all across the world, I never met them. I don't know them. So to me, I'm thinking like, nobody's doing nothing, because this is what I know.
That's how they do it. They keep us all separated, and we can't get to know one another. You know what I'm saying? So like, we talked about Raquel. You know Raquel. Y'all just ain't met physically, but that's because somebody got to be in DC snapping and letting them know, you know what I'm saying, what's going on. They keep us separated like that. And you know, and because it's not everybody getting involved. Imagine if everybody that was in the system, that came out of the system, dedicated, like, no, we got to make it better for the people behind us. Just that was that one thing they did. Like, hey, what do you need me to help you with? And that's what I always been trying to build, because it's just like, if we just, it doesn't take a lot of us. It just takes the effort. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, we just try to act like, that doesn't involve me, that doesn't affect me, and then things don't get passed, and then, or just like you said, you think like people not doing it, but people doing it. It's just that, they keep it spread out.
I think that is more so people are doing it, but the people that, so like I'm here now, so I'm not directly affected by the different things that people are fighting for. Mm-hmm. But me as a person in a situation that's going through it, whatever is here in my purview, I don't know that people's doing it. So it builds up the fire in me. Like, I need to go do this. But the more when you start to branch out, you will see realize, but then to me, like on this journey, you'll feel like it's kind of hard to align with people, right? Yeah. So it's like you knocking at the door. Like, I want to help too. Or following somebody else's mission. So I've been in situations where it's like, okay, I have different perspectives of the system. So it'll be like, okay, well, I don't want you to talk about this. I only want you to talk about this. And it's like, if the conversation was to go there, can I? No. Stay from this perspective.
Of course, because they don't, they're trying to guarantee some grant money.
Yeah,
I know. And they don't want to go far left, and they don't want, and that's the thing. Like, just know, anytime you want to come over here and spit your shit, or you come, just let me know. Like I told you before, like, it's an open door policy with me. So it's like, just let me know. We'll post it up. Like, if you post some stats, I'm gonna share it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just let me know. Just like, Munch, I got this going on. Cause the algorithm be fucking up everybody. Just let me know.
I don't believe in that algorithm stuff. It's some things that done happened on Instagram that got me like, I think that thing is a myth. Algorithm on Instagram, I think is a myth. If you honestly ask me.
No, it's an algorithm to the way the posts are generated and you get to see it. Not saying, it's just that, like, for instance, if one thing I do know is, like, if you get 25 likes and you start to get more likes in a certain amount of time period, you get boosted in view. You know what I mean? You got 1,000 friends, some of them only following 200. You know what I mean? And you wonder why this person's on your page, or the explore. Most people go to the explore page, different things. So but like I said, anytime there's anything, especially when it comes to like the foster care system, like you want to let me know, want to put it on the podcast, just let me know. And
like an ad.
Yeah, all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, ads, all that stuff. Like we got, for people who need to know, yes, we do have ads, for awareness, different things like that. But at the end of the day, it's for me, it's one of those things like there's things that you have to pay for, and then there's things that this needs to go be put out there. Right. So for me, it's just like, what do I need to do in order to? Because that's how I am. I'm just like, certain things don't come down to money. Some things come down to awareness. Like, we need to put this out there. Like, don't wait until the last second. Now you want to put this out there. Now you want to pay me to put it out there because now you fucked up. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, not you, but but that's how.
I'm very persistent. Yeah. When I'm knocking at the door, I'm knocking at the door.
Okay, so for everybody who need to know, and we're finna wrap this up in a minute, but for everybody who need to know, when you come and you, I've heard a lot of PRs talk about this, or a lot of show producers. When you come on and you ask for, like you want to be on somebody's show. This for entertainers, artists too. When you want to go on somebody's show, actually research the show. You feel me? Actually, like, find a point or find some type of common ground with what we talk about and what's going on with you. And one of the things that stood out to me is when I got the email, I read them, myself. So it was just like, I read the whole email. I looked at everything it was about. It was in order. It was like, this is right in line with what we do. So no, why would I deny it? And it sucked. Like, I literally went through the whole Christmas break sitting there saying, I'm going to do this interview. So when I hit you, it was early this week or last week, that was me saying I should have hit you a week before, but I didn't want to get caught up in the whole shuffle of, I didn't know what people's situation is with the holidays. So that's why I hit you up when I hit you. I was like, hey, you want to come on the show? Because it sat with me, and it was just like, no, that's certain people you tell no, you be like, all right, I told them no. You know what I'm saying? But this was the situation, like, I just felt it. Like, and you know how the energy is. Things align. You just like, no, I got to put this out there.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I believe in everything happens how it's supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. And one thing that, and I follow that throughout my life, where I don't stress about stuff. Like, even if I don't apply to jobs and they don't call back, I did the interview, they don't call back, I be like, oh, you know what? I ain't gonna sweat it, because what's for me is for me. And that's definitely something that I'd like. If somebody's ever talking to me and I'm ever giving you advice, I'd be like, you know, what's for you is for you. Because you can get on a show and then you just meet with people and their energy is all off and you like, this don't even align with my project. So, you know, what's for you and whatever it is that you're doing will definitely, everything that you need will work out. So I think that this worked out perfectly, especially because, you know, I still know people, they live like, what we on 54th Street, so it's right across the street. And I just really want to give people hope that this is not, your current situation is not your final destination. And what's so special about my story is that, yes, I had the tuition exemption, but that was all I had. So even if you are a child that grow up with your parents or a single mom, you can, like, don't let that stop you from going to college, because I still had to do that without a mother, a father, a support. Like, I found support systems and mentorship programs and things like that, and that's what I really want people to know. Like, whatever it is that you want to do, find your helpers. Find everybody. Kids tell me that they feel like when they call people for help, and it's like foster kids to social workers or whatever, I feel like I'm bothering them. I had to recently tell a child, like, don't feel like they wake up every single day, they apply to this job, they get paid every 2 weeks.
They make them work.
I don't care if you feel like you're bothering this person, because of course if you feel like I'm gonna go off from it because I don't feel like this is going to be genuine with the information that you're going to give me, you could go above them. And that's something that, it's a lot of different topics that I really touch on in the book, where I really want people to know, like, when you're dealing with a system or you're dealing with different people, or like, one thing that kids do have is, like, you'll see kids will say, I don't think that my parents cared. And that, to me, that was something that I really wanted to highlight on, like, you know what, I seen it from the front end of how we have these different things. Like, we talk about housing and we talk about employment and low wages and things like that. I've seen parents, they cry for their children. They just don't have the money to care for their children. It wasn't drugs that kept your parents away from you. It wasn't that they just didn't want to be parents. Parents really sit in that courtroom with dilemmas that they facing, like, I got to do this to my child because I don't have money, because I don't have housing, or I have too many kids and I can afford a 1-bedroom, but I can't afford a 3-bedroom, and you telling me I have to have a 3-bedroom for you to get my kids back. So I just really wanted to give hope to people, like, you know what, we don't have to walk around with the burdens of my parent didn't care about me, because they truly did. Like, they possibly truly did. Like, I promise you, I've never seen a parent who say, even my own parents say, like, I don't love my kids, here, take them. Like, people joke about that when the system come into their life. Like, that's probably something you heard, like, if you're going to tell me how to raise my kids, then here, you take them. But deep down inside, people, that's not what people
I never
need.
seen a parent that was just like, in talking about my father, I never seen a parent that, or even him come home and say, these people just bad off. You know what I'm saying? Like, they may have been bad off, like, mentally, but they still gave a fuck about their kid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely
they'll go above and beyond. They still cared. It's just that they weren't in the best position in order to give care. You know what I'm saying?
Or sometimes, like, some things that I did see, and, like, I want parents to read my book as well. Like, it's different people, because you could really be doing your all, and people don't see no good in what you're doing. So
think about all the mothers of who left children in the car, that I think about, and then like, recently we had a situation in Miami. I think she was out of Miami Gardens, or she was out of Broward. She was falling on some rough times, and she left her child in there while going to work, or going for a job interview. And somebody snitched on her, and she was, doing. We got her a job. You know what I'm saying? She now works for and probably one of the best workers for Breedy Physical Therapy. So she's doing a wonderful job over there, but she just needed an opportunity. Or
Your
just think
liver.
about the mother who just lost her child, a football player. He was finna go off to damn college.
Oh my God! Somebody sent me that because I was having a conversation with somebody, and this person, I managed to make a lot of relationships. So like people that I have that was on my caseload, or they was a mentor to somebody on my caseload. Like I'm still in communication with them, and we were having a conversation. And this goes back to you have to be physically homeless for me to help you.
Yeah,
And this lady
yeah,
was on this
yeah.
thing, and I saw it and I scrolled past it. I didn't watch it. It took for somebody to send it to my phone and say, when I listened to this, I thought about what you was telling me. And I was like, see, when we talk about help and we talk about people,
Yeah.
this lady said, I was asking for help. I was asking for help. And matter of fact, you put that on. You put a post up there. And I was like, you know what? I saw the headline saying it's time to start talking about child poverty, how poverty affects children. I was like, we experienced that already. We don't want to talk about this. The federal government could start by lifting up that you have to be physically homeless. You have to be literally homeless.
But that's the stuff that people don't know. Like, for instance, in order for us to the reparations, just a bullshit conversation. But for reparations, right? In order for us to get reparations, we got to be a nationality. But how many people walking around saying we gonna get reparations and we African descendants of slaves? No, because you're claiming that as your nationality, an African descendant of a slave. I'm not gonna claim that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the like bureaucratic things you got to do. Like you have to be physically homeless before I can. You know what I'm saying? You have to be a felon in order to be a felon, or in order to get your rights back. You have to pay restitution. That's you know what I'm saying. You have to complete your sentence. Completing your sentence means you got to pay restitution.
It's always a trick.
It's always a trick to it, and there's always some little small things. Even with Amendment 13, you know what I'm saying? Your ass a slave. Once you go back to jail, your ass a slave. You know what I'm saying? You in their system. You use a slave. You know what I'm saying?
And I just think that like that lady, her story was like, I'm telling you, I scrolled past it, I watched it. When I watched it and I heard her say that, and I was like, now it takes for somebody to walk in front of a train.
Yeah.
For y'all to say, now I've sat at these tables and told administrators like, you know what? No, this don't sound right. I feel crazy doing this. But it took for a child to walk in front of a train for headlines to say we need to talk about the effects that poverty have on children. You have children in foster care every single day who telling you, this is driving me insane and it's putting a lot of pressure on me. But the crazy thing that happened with that lady was that because she was staying in a hotel, she just had started her homeless situation all over again once she got that room. So if she would have called they go by this thing called housing first. So they feel like you need housing to be able to thrive in every other aspect of your life. So once she got into that hotel room, she probably was able to wind down because she had somewhere to sleep that night. And she would get on the phone calling, and she would end up saying, well, no, me and my family staying in the hotel tonight. And they'd be like, well, call us back tomorrow because you not homeless anymore. So I just was like, just looking at those different situations, like, we work under a lot of distress. Like something tragic has to happen
in order for you to get what you need.
In order for a change to happen or a conversation. I'm like, we always talking.
I hate that we always in a reactionary position and not a proactive position. And so tell the people again where they can show the people the book. Show the people it's good to go.
So this is my book, labeled Word of the State. It releases next Wednesday, January 15th. It is available for pre-order now until next week, exclusively on my website, www.kenishaanthony.com. The book will be in Books and Books more towards February. So if you like shopping with independent bookstores, you can get it there, and you can follow my author journey on Instagram at About Kenisha.
Dope. And where do people can find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at About Kenisha, and Twitter is the same, About Kenisha.
And man, we'll check y'all out. Y'all can find me, Machiavelli Munch. TrappingAintDead.com. If you want to find out the podcast, we on YouTube, we on Spotify, we on Apple, we on SoundCloud, we on Stitcher, we on everywhere that podcasts are available. So, but if you just want to just tune in to us, just every time, TrappingAintDead.com. You tune in to Trapping Ain't Dead. We got a new blog we're about to start. So I'm just excited about a lot of different things we got going on. If you do want to advertise with us, just hit us up for any type of advertisement, publicity, sponsorships. We do have packages available, so just let us know. What else? I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like artists, if you want your song featured, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to me, info@trappingdead.com. We will play it. I just played Lyric Ties, Mind Your Business last week. This week we playing Jay Howard's Drip, a new single Drip. We've played Fool Me Once before it blew up. We've played a lot of different things before.
Shout out to Tiara Trinice.
Yeah, shout out to Tiara. You know what I'm saying? Did she help you any, or how you know Tiara?
I went to school with her.
Yeah, Ascent.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, dope, man. I love her, man. She's so dope. And we gonna get on the show real soon. I gotta get her. That's my girl right there, man. Because I just, I'm always a big supporter of black women. You know what I'm saying? And it's so like y'all so dope and dynamic in what y'all could do and y'all abilities. That I just try to support any way I can. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
Yeah.
Most people, I'm telling you, people be knocking at the door trying to get in, trying to get those opportunities. So that's good that you're a person that reach back, though.
Yeah, always. So, yeah, man. So I see y'all when I see y'all next episode. Oh, matter of fact, shit. Damn, tomorrow we got Danny Spikes. But after that, we got Zipporah coming. Zipporah Hayes with the future American music entertainers. She going to be on the show. That's a good friend of mine, one of my old coworkers. And we're going to talk about like her journey with just working in the entertainment business and talking about, like artist development and different things like that. So that's what she does. So, yeah, man, y'all stay tuned. See y'all. Peace.